Hello everyone and welcome back to This Week in Mythic Plus. Now before we get started, Antorus does launch next week, so save your seals this week. And if you saved your seals from last week, you should have a total of 6 out of 6 going into Antorus with an extra 3 for next week. So this week we do have Bolstering, which means when an enemy dies, all other enemies in combat gain more HP and more damage. Explosive, which means that periodically enemies will spawn explosives that must be taken down. If not, they will explode for 50% of your max HP. And Tyrannical. Boss mobs are going to have more HP and do more damage. Now tanks, this week you have to help kill the explosives. It's not a DPS only mechanic, you should be helping out and it is very important since it'll take 50% of your HP right off. Also this week you want to keep pulls to less than 5 or 6 mobs depending on what kind of mob we're talking about because of bolstering. If a mob gets more than 6 stacks of bolstering, it's going to be very deadly, so keep your pulls to about 5 or 6. If the bolstering stacks are greater than 5, you should begin kiting or stunning that mob that does have those many stacks. Also very important to note is that explosive can be line of sighted, so if you accidentally get a really big pull or a really big body pull and you get a ton of explosives out into the area, run around a corner, take your whole group there and just ignore those explosives. Also use defensive cooldowns on big boss abilities because we do have Tyrannical this week. DPS, always tab 2 and prioritize killing explosives first. Explosives are going to be the #1 priority this week. Also, if you do see that bolstering stacks get to more than 5, start helping by throwing out snares and stuns so that your tank doesn't go down. Remember to use your DPS cooldowns freely on any trash pulls, but try to keep your AoE and cleave as even as possible to minimize the impact of bolstering on your group. Also, if there are some explosives that spawned in a very hard to reach area or in an impossible to reach area, remember to just LOS, go around a corner, ignore the explosive so that it doesn't hit you. Also this week you might want to consider Pridas, and this is going to be to counter Tyrannical boss abilities and any explosives that do get missed throughout the dungeon. Also this week use defensive cooldowns on big boss abilities that do AoE. Since we do have Tyrannical, you can get one shot. Healers, this week bring water. If your group fails at a few explosives, it's going to be really heavy on your mana. Also get ready with your AoE and group heals this week, just in case any explosives do slip through. And if you see any bolstering stacks above 4, then you should start casting big heals on your tank to keep them up. And also, if it is possible for you and your group is definitely geared, then you can help out by killing explosives. Remember to use defensive cooldowns on big boss abilities, consider bringing a Pridas as well, and help snare and stun when the bolstering stacks are above 5 so that your tank takes less damage that way. Overall this week we are at a 7 out of 10. If your group is very good at targeting explosives and taking them down, then this week is going to be easier for you, something more akin to a 5 out of 10. But if your group is very bad at explosives, no one prioritizes or targets them, then this is going to be a very rough week for you. Make sure you pull small, but you can be chain pulling as soon as combat drops for that bolstering, so pull small but frequently, and be careful with Tyrannical boss abilities because they can be deadly. Also, another reminder to save your last 3 seals this week for Antorus launching next week. So thank you all for watching, and as always, good luck out there.